From Studio 3 at Buzz TV, it's The Horse's Mouth with Tom McManus.
All right, time once again for another edition of The Horse's Mouth here on Buzz TV. Back at Tommy Mac's, of course. I love being at my bar, meeting people with, start over.
We're good. I'll keep it rolling.
Intro.
Meeting people with, we'll start over. All right, I'm ready.
3, 2.
All right, welcome into another edition of The Horse's Mouth here on Buzz TV. Of course, back at my bar, back at Tommy Mac's, brought to you by our good friends at TruckCrashLaw.com. We're talking about culture this time around with some business leaders right here in our great city of Jacksonville. Dave MacCutcheon is our first guest. Let's welcome him in from InfoBionic. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Good to see you again.
Great to have you on the show once again. We're talking culture today, man. How do you guys handle culture at InfoBionic?
You know, culture is important, and I think we looked at what's happened through the pandemic. We saw some downsizing in our company. We saw some downsizing across some of our customers who couldn't keep their medical offices open.
Right.
But it's key to keep communications open, and it's key to keep people engaged. It's hard in this digital age. So we actually live by a culture called TACIT,
right.
And TACIT stands for trust, accountability, creativity, innovation, and transparency.
Okay.
So we bookend trust and transparency, and then we live that out. So you trust your coworkers are going to achieve and deliver what they say they're going to do.
Right.
You all have transparency. We use work boards online that we track goals and objectives to make sure that we say we're going to do a project. These are the goals. These are the things we need to get done, and we work that. And we look for people who want to work in that environment, who want to have that openness. You never know. Is somebody on the other end of that Zoom call when their video goes away?
Sure.
What are they doing on the other side of that?
Right.
Are they really working? And so I think it's really important to have a company culture that people, one, enjoy what they do. Two, they feel like they're contributing. Everybody comes to me and says, I feel like I'm underutilized. I want to be used more.
Sure.
And I love
More
those
of a
employees
purpose.
because they have purpose, and then I can give them more work.
Awesome.
So,
great to have you back on the show.
Yeah, great to be here.
Chris Ramaglia, how are you, bud?
Doing good,
Good
Tom.
to see you.
Glad to be back, man.
Yeah, man. It's been a little while, but always a pleasure to see you at the bar. What's going on with you, man? How you guys been?
Doing really well. Took majority ownership of BroadBased earlier this year.
All right.
It's been a wild ride.
Congrats. Give me some.
Yeah, man.
That's
great
awesome.
first quarter.
Actually, give me some.
Yeah, absolutely. A little more corner around
There we go.
Yeah.
You're at a bar.
That's great. Well, what about culture for you, man? Now that you're the head honcho, right? You gotta
I
make
think
sure it's right.
Like David said, culture is so important, and we're in a client-facing business, right? And our clients they have expectations from us. Primarily, they expect us to be innovating on their behalf, right? I mean, they want us. Our business is based on ideas, and how good are your ideas? Not so much the volume, because there's so many things you can do with marketing. It's more of we want the best that you have. So how do we encourage that from a culture standpoint? And one of the biggest ways is having those like you mentioned communication touch points of. When's the last time we proposed something new for these folks? Not maybe, it doesn't have to be an upsell per se, but just a new idea, a new direction to go with the campaign.
Absolutely.
So really fostering that is a key part of our culture. I'd say the second thing would be trust. Our clients basically are investing in our firm.
Right.
Essentially, they're giving us their ad budget. They expect a return on that. So there's a lot of trust there. And in the beginning, it's all about, we need to see it, right? So show me and then I'll believe you. Right. And then we transition to a point where once we're in a position of authority, it's like, believe in us and then we'll show you. And that's really what I've been trying to get across to the team. And that's when it becomes fun. Right? When the clients, when they're excited to meet with you, sometimes I think you can see, like you mentioned on Zoom calls, when people's like, oh, we got to meet with the ad agency. We want them to be excited. We want them to be pumped about, okay, what have you done for us? What new ideas do you have?
What are we doing next?
What have you done for me lately?
Exactly.
Right? That's a big one.
And the employees like that too, because I'm making sure they get recognition. And like I say, they want to feel that sense of purpose. That just makes them hungrier to want to even do better. So.
I always listen. Whether we're talking football or business or whatever, I think if you're leading people, you should give that adulation as consistently as you give the critique.
That's right.
Yeah.
Everybody wants that little pat on the
three
back.
times more because they
Well,
remember
you don't
the
get that in
critique.
football. You get one good
get a
job, and
one-to-one.
that's enough.
Yeah,
But you know what I'm saying? Like, it does, because it gives you a jolt of like, all right, I'm doing it right, and I got recognized. Now what? I want to do it again.
That's right.
I want to do it again.
Do it
It's like
better.
when we're kids, you want your parents to like you,
Right.
right?
That's it.
And not make them mad. Do it again, do it again, do it again. So that's the
it.
culture, right?
That's it. That's been successful for us.
Yeah, great to have you on. All right, James, you're back. What's up,
Back
my man?
again, sir. How are
Good
you?
to see you.
Good to see
Culture in Robert Half. What do you say about that?
I think that when it comes to culture, it's two things, right? It's you've got to give your employees freedom, and freedom in two ways. You got to give them the freedom to succeed, right? Because we want that positive impact on our employees. But I think more powerful than that is you got to give them the freedom to fail. And if they fail forward. And it's always about moving that ball forward. And that's what we as business leaders have really catered to our careers is we have failed a ton, right?
Oh, yeah.
And what has made us successful is you got up, you dusted off, and you learned from it, and you turned that into double the effort or double the whatever it is you're trying to accomplish.
Yep.
So I think that's a huge part in what we do. But I think the other big part is too is with some of my involvement in the community and the organizations that I'm involved with, it's about cultivating young talent early and getting them interested in industry and technology and medical or whatever it may be, and really creating an excitement around that to create that buzz, that true piece of like what culture could actually be, and trying to educate them on where they need to go in life. So I think that mixed with that and giving the freedom to kind of do what you need to do, I think that's what culture is really at.
Yeah. David Selick's back. Hey, David. Always a pleasure, my man.
Likewise. Good to see you.
You're obviously heavily involved not only in the Boy Scouts of America, but also plenty of businesses, Business Journal. And
I work with about 10 retained businesses as a business coach. I work with the business owner, and culture is a big part of what we talk about. One of my clients, I truly think, has one of the best cultures that I've ever seen, and it's intentional.
Okay.
They engaged a company called CultureWise a couple of years ago and identified 32 core principles. And every single week, that new core principle gets emailed out, gets talked about at the beginning of every meeting, every departmental meeting, and it's just that repetitive reminder about these are our core principles.
Right.
And it's what they call it's Ennis Pelham and Associates, the EPA way.
Yeah, sure.
And it's and we've had this discussion with some of my TAB boards over the years of is culture intentionally led, or do you just let it develop?
Good
and
question.
There's two different thoughts on it.
Yeah.
And I just gave one example of it being very intentional.
Right.
And then there's others that, companies that have a remote workforce and they let that evolve.
You know, I always look, and on this show, I think sports is business is life. They're all kind of the same thing, right? I look at like, when I think about culture of a football, we'll just say a football team.
Sure.
It's not just the talent you bring in; it's the talent that can handle the culture. Like if you got a coach that's a hard driving, like you got to do little things, he's on you about it, and you can handle that, you're going to thrive in that situation. You could be the most talented guy in the world and not like that at all. And I don't deal with that. I don't like that micromanage. I don't like you being all over me. I don't like you doing this. You know, and you got to find, and it might be harder in business to really break that down. Like, how do I know this person, this employee, is the right fit for my culture? Yeah, they're talented. Look at the resume; they're great. But how do I know they're going to really fit? And so maybe evolving
one bad apple,
right? It can really be a tough situation. I think they got to match, though. I don't think you can take, in my opinion, take somebody and be like, "This is our culture." And you're going to do it.
You certainly can't
They
mold.
may or they may not.
You certainly can't mold all the individuals as they come in, and that's why when we think about the hiring process we do, we focus on culture, right? We can get 20 resumes. They all went to college. They've all got 10 years of experience. They've all got the certification in what we're looking for. But the interview process we do is this somebody you want to work with every day? Is this someone you'll trust to give a project to and have them completed in 2 weeks? And so when you wrap that around kind of a results-only work environment, right? Then you say culture is born out of the people that you put on the bus. Right? And that's
I think
sort
the
of
key word there is that interview.
Yeah, the interview.
That interview
Starts at the beginning.
Right? That's huge to figure out who
it's an upfront contract with the employee too. Here's what our, here are our core values.
Right.
Sure.
And we have an exercise that we do with our TAB members, and it is developing a culture statement. And it's sitting down with your team, and going through this word salad and pulling the key words that they all agree with that are the core principles.
All right, I'm going to wrap it up with this because this is really, I think, impressive. What Doug Peterson has done in 1 year and kept all those players. There's not a huge turnover. The culture is set in 1 year.
And having
That's
guys
extremely
pining to prove themselves.
They want to stay. And
I mean, Ridley's out there saying, what? I'm 1,800 yards, here it comes.
Wait.
Right,
Right, 1,400, but we'll give them an extra 400. We'll take 2,000. All right, great to have you guys on the show. Great conversation. Hey, if you like these kind of conversations, there are so many more at iwannabuzz.com, so check them out when you get the opportunity. Until next time, stay safe and be cool out there. We'll see you right here on The Horse's Mouth. Cheers.